a few weeks ago, you wrote an op-ed, you published an op-ed in Bloomberg View, of all places, titled "The IMF Needs to Stop Torturing Greece." Mm-hmm. And you acknowledged that you're positioned effectively long Greece, mm-hmm. looking for things to improve. Why Greece? Why now? Why you?
Why me? I always wonder that one, but I can answer the other two. Look, Greece has gone through essentially a Great Depression, right? We've had peak to trough GDP decline of almost 30%. The Greek people, the Greek government has suffered mightily over the last 8 years because they don't have a currency of their own to make the adjustments that needed to be made to their economy post financial crisis and post European banking crisis. And so Greece has been at the mercy of basically the Troika and truthfully just, the European Union and the IMF together lent a lot of money to Greece to keep the European Union together. And now basically what I was saying was I think the IMF is being entirely too punitive with their requirements or demands on Greece. And the good news is that they ended up coming to a much better mutual conclusion post the writing of our piece.
So why now?
I think,
and the reason I ask that is because some people would look at the Greek trade and say it's already played out pretty nicely for those people who are in Greek government bonds. They've been rallying; they're up 16% already this year.
Right. So there's a difference between Greek government bonds and the banks and the equities of Greece. So when you look at, for instance, the banks collectively only have about $10 billion of market cap. When you look at bank market cap to GDP, it's the lowest in the world. And so when you think about an economy that's just now starting to show green shoots everywhere, whether it's tourism, new vehicle registrations, GDP, primary deficit, no matter how you look at the macro indicators of a country, for the first time in 8 years, the macro indicators are just starting to flashing green. And therefore, I think you also have an interesting political situation in Greece where I think there's going to be a handoff from the current Syriza government to kind of a slightly center-right but very economically independent new leadership in the next, call it, 18 months. And so I think you ask why now, and I think you're starting to see green shoots. You're starting to see the banks do the right things finally in Greece, and you're about to have new leadership. So I think you're going to see, and if you remember Argentina, as Kirchner was going to hand the reins over to someone that was much more, let's say, focused on business and economics than being a kleptocrat, I think you're going to see something, again, slightly similar in Greece, where you have leadership today that might not be the right leadership, and the government in waiting, I believe, and I think Mr. Mitsotakis, I think you're going to see something great happen to Greece in the next kind of 2 years.